in guitar. We're back with the best guitar series on YouTube. By now, you should already know that we're talking about riffs that make you go. And today's video is a very requested episode. It's the episode on C-sharp standard tuning, which is one of my favorite tunings ever because there's just so many great bands that use that tuning. And today's video is sponsored by Sweetwater, but more on that later. So let's not waste any more time and get right into the riffs. To start off, we have one of the most obvious bands that just had to be included. It's a band that I love very much. My band wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them. It's Dying Fetus with the song Conceived into Enslavement. As soon as I publicly said that I was gonna do a C-sharp standard riffs video, about 60% of people were commenting Dying Fetus riffs. And you know what? You're so right for doing that. And I pretty much went with the whole ending part of the song because it just goes so hard and it's so nasty and I just love it. I mean, it's Dying Fetus. It has been featured many a times on this series and for good reason. Following that, we have a band that I haven't included on this series, and it's a band that I love very much. It's probably my favorite band that I've seen live so far. It's Belphegor with the song Diabolical Possession. I think this is my favorite Belphegor song. The album that it was released with is probably my favorite out of the entire discography. Belphegor is a band that I've listened to for almost 10 years now, and I love them very much. And it's a band that I think is the actual kings of black and death metal, as opposed to Behemoth, especially now considering their latest releases. And C-sharp standard seems to be a very common tuning for black and death metal bands. Moving on, we have now one of the most famous bands to ever use that tuning. It's Limp Bizkit with the song Break Stuff. Probably the most iconic, most famous, most obvious choice to have included on this video, but I don't know, I haven't played this song in a minute, and it's just so much fun for how little you actually play the guitar during this song, but it's an iconic song, you can't deny their importance. It sounds weird without the vocals because the vocals kind of make the whole intro of the song. Even though it's very simple, it's still a very groovy, catchy song that just gets stuck in your head. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, this video is sponsored by Sweetwater, and this episode is a very special one because this time around they have sent me this. They have sent me a BC Rich Ironbird Prophecy Mark 1. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you might already know that the Ironbird is my favorite guitar model ever, and that I've been wanting one of these guitars forever. And Sweetwater was kind enough to send me one of this, and I can safely say that I was not disappointed. Such a beautiful guitar. I still can't believe it that I have it in my hands, that I own it now. This specific model normally comes with black hardware, but for some reason this particular one came with chrome hardware, and this particular run of guitars of this specific model is actually selling for less than the normal retail price on Sweetwater. So if you like how this guitar looks with the chrome hardware as opposed to the black hardware that it normally comes with, you may want to take advantage of the sale that's going on right now before they sell out. I think the only complaint that I have about this guitar is that it has a ton of neck dive. So if you're gonna be playing this guitar standing up, that's something to look out for. Can't thank enough Sweetwater for providing this guitar to make this video and just to keep making videos and music in the future with it. If you'd like to check this guitar out or any other piece of equipment that I use to make my videos, you can check out my affiliate links to Sweetwater in the description down below. And if you buy anything, and I mean anything, using those particular links, I do make a small commission, so you help support the channel. But now, back to the riffs! Now let's bring back some more death metal, and it's another band that just had to be included on this episode. It's a band that couldn't be left out. It's Suffocation with Funeral Inception. Just like Dying Fetus, there was no shortage of nasty riffs that could have been included on this list from Suffocation, but I chose to go with this one, firstly because I haven't played this particular song in over 3 years, but also because it just goes so incredibly hard. I could pick and choose any riff from this particular song, but I went with the intro riff. I just love how fast and aggressive it is while still being catchy and groovy. Moving along, we have another black and death metal band and another band that was heavily requested for it. It's Behemoth with Transmigrating Beyond Realms of Amenti. Evangelion is hands down my favorite Behemoth album. I think their most underrated album. I think it's just pure aggression. I think this album is the perfect combination of just all-out aggression with the production value that it deserved. I think, for example, Demigod or The Apostasy was a bit lacking on the production side of things. And the riff that I chose from this song is just a perfect representation of the vibe of this album. It's just pummeling and in your face all the time. And after that, we actually have some prog metal, and it's a band that for a long time it was one of my top 3 favorite bands of all time. It's Between the Bird and Me with Augment of Rebirth. This is actually the first song I ever listened from this band, and the riff that I chose from this particular song is actually a groovy slammy section that it has, and it's probably also the only part in the song that is as straightforward as this is, because you know BT Bam can get down with it sometimes. And I also think this section represents well the hardcore and metalcore roots that Between the Bird and Me has. Now we have to bring back some more death metal, and not only that, but my favorite death metal band of all time. It's Hate Eternal with The Chosen One. This band, and Eric Rutan specifically, is the whole reason why I love Beast of Rich Ironbirds so much. It's also one of the main reasons that I love C-sharp standard tuning this much. Just the combination of all these factors that are coming to make this video, it's perfect to include one of their songs. The Chosen One is one of my favorite songs from them. And the Infernus album, I think, is so heavily underrated. It just has so many insanely nasty riffs. And I think this section of the song that I chose to go with perfectly showcases that. after that, we have another heavily requested band for this episode, and a band that makes sense to put in this particular spot on the list. It's Sylosis with Descent. Sylosis is a band that is very well known for being really heavy and really modern while playing in E standard tuning, but over the years they have been playing in lower tunings. They have quite a few songs that were written in D standard tuning, and most recently they have been using C# standard tuning a lot. And I also chose to put them in this particular spot of the list because I know that Josh Middleton is a big fan of Hate Eternal. I also know that he has a bit of an affinity for the Busy Rich Ironbird, so much so that he designed one of his ESP custom guitars based on the Ironbird. After that blisteringly aggressive death metal section, a more mid-tempo thrash metal inspired groovy section will fit perfectly on the list. After that, we have another band that makes a lot of sense to be featured in this part of the list because it's Architects with the song The Throne. As most of you know, Josh Middleton from Sylosis was in Architects for a number of years and wrote a couple albums with them. And I had forgotten that the early Architects album had a couple songs that were in C# standard. And the end breakdown of this song also has that mid-tempo thrash metal inspired kind of groove to it. And besides that, it's just a really fun riff to play, which is all that matters here. Of course, we have to save the best for last, and hands down the hardest riff out of the entire episode. It's another heavily requested death metal band and one that could not be left out of this episode. It's Decapitated with their song Homo Son. This particular song is so hard, but I've practiced this song for a number of years, so it's actually not that hard to get it down for this video. What Bleed is to Meshuggah, I think Homo Son is to Decapitated. And also Vogue is well known for having used a Ironbird style guitar in the past, so it'll just make sense here. But now, watch me suffer as I destroy my right hand with this riff. But that's it for today's episode, gang. Let me know in the comments down below what are your favorite C# standard riffs. Once again, a big shout out and a huge thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video and for providing the Busy Rich Ironbird that I was using on this video. I've been loving playing it so much and I can't thank them enough for it. So you make sure to check them out in the link in the description down below. If you want to watch another video full of mean and nasty and disgusting riffs, you can watch it right here. All my social media links and my Discord link will be in the description down below as always. So please go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.